Last stream, I attempted to stream what I was doing. It failed. The camera kept disconnecting. I got really frustrated. I was really tired, and I just want to get stuff done. So I cut off the stream and then worked on the car. So I have some things to catch you guys up with. Oh yeah, it's cold by the way. It's below 40 again. So yay, I'm gonna try to work fast on it. So what I did last time off stream is I finished reattaching the drive shaft, tightened down the bolts that I loosened back there. I put a lot of stuff on from the transmission back together. So at the very back of the transmission, there's a L triangular bracket. Towards the back has 2 bolts that go into the transmission right up, and then 1 bolt that goes into the support beam that goes across. It's good. I replaced the bracket because the old one was bad. And then 2 bolts that go into the transmission. The problem with those is they're not the right bolts, as far as I know. And the threading inside the part of the transmission is completely toast. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to drill those out and put some helix coils or something in there to repair the threads, or replace the threads really. There's not really much left to repair. Put bigger bolts in there and call it good. That's later. I did test out the transmission. I have 2 quarts of fluid in there right now. I poured it in through the top, but I wanted to make sure it even spun over and stuff. It did have quite a bit of resistance. Couldn't really turn it with the wheels. Eventually broke it free with the engine. I think the problem was the bearing that's in between the input shaft and the output shaft. A little tiny bearing that goes in there. I think that got seized up a little bit. What I probably should have done is I probably should have put some transmission grease on that, or transmission glue grease stuff on that bearing before assembling it. I do have 2 more quarts coming in the mail today, so I'm waiting on those. So are we still rolling? We're still rolling, good, okay. Oh, and I also found out that my battery, which I have over there now, would no longer hold a charge. I've tried to charge it with a trickle charger, battery conditioner device thing that usually works great. It worked great last time too, even. But this time it did not work. I repeatedly decided, okay, well, I guess get a new battery. So I got a new battery. It was expensive, but not as expensive as the battery can be, but you know, batteries are expensive. So that came in the mail today, so that's why I'm out here now. So I can put that in. What I need to do with the car is I need to level it out so that when I get the transmission fluid, I can just pour that in and take out the fill plug. I'm just gonna pour it in from the top here, the turret, because the 6-speed has an open turret to the rest of the transmission. After that, I put the fill plug back in, slap this back together, and I can test the car again. And while I'm waiting, I also want to clean some of the parts that have some gunk on it and were beat up from the transmission getting jammed up in there because it didn't go in there very smoothly. So bumped and scraped a whole bunch of stuff. I want to clean that off and then use some of this paint stuff and put some paint on it just to keep it from rusting. And then after all that is done, I go for a test drive, finally. So I bled the clutch and it now holds good pressure, or good enough pressure. Oh, I got the exhaust back in all the way. It's sealed up fine. The old battery, there's a new one. And here's the bolts I replaced. And then these bolts, I might have actually got these to do the same purpose as these, but oh well, now I have more. Those are for the bolts that were incorrect there. Up in here, I know we hit, so I put this bar back in. Probably shouldn't have if I'm gonna do this, but anyway, so up here, all along this K-member, it got beat up pretty bad. There's some brake lines up here that got pretty scuffed up. Checking for leaks, because it does have 2 liters in it now, so it should. If there were leaks around these areas, they would show. This might be my rattle issue, the shielding on the cat, or the cat itself, I don't know. I'm gonna assume you guys see this. This is the bracket I was talking about, so I need to rethread these holes here. You know, we're slipping. It's a new bracket, so to replace the old one. I got a new top piece to this bracket here. Shine light my face for good luck. let's get this new battery in there. The positive terminal has a little boot vent of the battery to the outside rather than into the trunk, which is kind of connected to the cabinet space, so it's a safety thing. It would fit, but yeah. Oh, is that a tray down there? Hold on. What's left of one? Huh. Okay. Okay, and then the vents attach to these little nozzles up front. Clearance issues with it. Trying to make sure that doesn't pinch that line. Put the donut back in. I took it out because there was a mouse issue, so. Yep, that looks like it. Like that. The lug nut bar thing is somewhere, I don't know. Stuff got in through here. Started coming out through here. So what I did was I took off as much as I could and just put some paint over it for now. Rust encapsulating paint. We'll deal with this later. What was I doing? Oh yeah, power. I didn't just put the lid on before. Alright, we have good power. Let's see if she starts. I'm holding the clutch down right now. Yeah, it starts and idles pretty well. Cool. Next is to put a little bit of that paint stuff on there, I think. And hopefully the rest of the trans fluid will be here soon. So paint prep here. Secondary airflow here. Flip the light back into my eyes because that's just good luck. Okay, since we're still waiting on the fluid, I think I'm gonna clean up a bit and level the car out so that when the fluid does come in, I can just pour it in and we can level it out correctly. Alright, we should be back. And we're back. Cool. Battery died. We're back now. Are we back now? Back now? Full signal. It just keeps losing signal. Choppy audio. Oh. Okay, let me try resetting it one more time. Alright, are we back? Is the audio any better or is it still choppy? Oh. There's my heat gun. And my tools I was missing. Ah. Okay, hiding in plain sight. Good to know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try that. I don't know. You think that will just... Because I mean, I can't carry the laptop around with me, so if I'm on the other side of the room, I don't know if that'll work or not, but it definitely picks up the entire room, so That might just have to do for now. BRB. Fluid. And another box. For the cardboard mounts, and I need to dismantle at some point. Alright. Oh, I never figured out what size the fill plug was. So it was bigger than a 21. One of these. Would it be a 27? Nope. Yeah. Ow. Oh wait, I have a 24. Is it a 24? Oh, it's a 24. Cool. Well, now I have transmission fluid on my face, and it's draining out. Apparently 2 liters was enough. So apparently I didn't need to do all that. Let's work on getting the car back together. Okay. I do want to clean that off so I know if there's leaks later or not. And I do need to put just guesstimate enough there. The car's a lot lower than before. Now, stick this lady back on here. Back in the holes. Not much. We have our new bolts. That looks like it had a washer on it before. I don't know what happened to these bolts though, so Alright, before I tighten those last two, I want to see if I can find washers for them first. So let's get the splash shield on. Here. I know I'm missing bolts for this, but it's just the way it is. Alright. Well, I guess we'll do it without washers then. We can try to grab them for later, next time. Try to chase them deep enough or something. So maybe I'm fighting the old threads on the very end of it. That should be good. That should be it for under the cart for now. Now let's work on the interior a little bit. Okay. In here. Did I have that backwards? Or is that right? I think that's right. Okay. Oh, dang it. Get her on the ground. And cool. Be back. So I'm gonna switch over to the GoPro audio. Oh, never mind. Reconnecting. You know what? I might just switch to streaming from my phone. How much battery? Ooh, test drive and still be streaming. So, all right. So I'm gonna switch over to the phone. Give me a second here. We're back and we're on the phone. It's cold. Start it up. So neutral. Oh. Nice and tight. Letting go of the clutch. Okay. So that's good, no noises. I was going to test this up in the air first, but I forgot. I might have this on backwards. So that's first gear. Alright, we'll move forward. I forgot to have the chalk up front. And reverse. Oh, that was the big one. Alright, I think we have a working transmission. Let's hit the road before I breathe all this exhaust out of the garage here. From 6th to 2nd. Yeah, I'm sure that would go over well. Oh wow, this feels tight. Oh. It's never felt this tight before. That's awesome. Hold on, I'm way a little far back on the seat. I forgot to adjust the clutch pedal, so I think we're still good with it. Gauge is right about there. Yeah, I could adjust the clutch pedal later. All right, not a big deal. Hold on, do I even have, okay, yeah, I can get back in here. Okay. We're back. You got the sideways cam now. I think one of my tires are low. Either that or the alignment somehow went out. Definitely drifted to the right here. And there's definitely exhaust leak. But that's fifth. That's sixth. We have all gears. And a rattle. There we go. Definitely want to adjust the clutch pedal again. It's a little sloppy. Nope. Oh, hold on. Still doing that weird thing. That's not old man. That's him. Okay. So if I'm ever loaning this car to somebody, I gotta remind them. You know what? Yeah, I gotta make sure they go all the way into reverse, or else it's gonna chew up that gear. Hopefully that's not too bad. I think the problem was the bracket that wasn't in there entirely correct because of the threads. So I think if I can get some helix coils and re-drill out those holes and put that bracket in, I think that'll solve the drive shaft issue, or wrap if it's colliding, and hopefully that didn't disrupt its balance too much. Spending more, yeah. Yep. Nothing's ever as cheap or simple as I expect. I thought I would get this done in a month. I was very wrong. So today, I have a couple things I want to do. In fact, I think I have an idea how to do that. So we're going to work on 2, maybe 3 issues today, and it's still cold. I now have a useful light from Christmas, so that will be super useful under the car. The normal stands for now. So we're going to remove that bracket. Then I have a thread repair kit, and this is a M10 1.25. I'm hoping that's good enough because the holes were pretty big. Repairing those holes, and that should keep the transmission from moving. We're also got to inspect the drive shaft, make sure the damage isn't bad. Then we're also going to try to deal with the rattling of the shielding on the Cat. I think I figured out a solution that might work for that. I got new washers for those 2 new bolts that need some washers. Actually might need one for that 3rd bolt. Oh yeah, look at that. I have light. And the car is way lower than it was last time, so this is gonna be interesting. Actually, let's see if I can inspect the drive shaft first. So there's the drive shaft. I don't see any obvious damage to it. Huh. No marks on it. Other than that scrape, but that looks different than use. There's a couple marks on it from when I installed and uninstalled it. But it looks pretty on there. Working on this bracket here. See, there's no bolt there, there's a bolt here. This one barely holds anything, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the bracket out and try to fix these threads by redoing them entirely. I should have brought the bigger ones down here. Holy cow. There we go. Yeah, just barely hangs on in there. There we go. We'll be replacing that. Let me first figure out how deep those holes are. They're supposed to be 25 millimeters. And I got 20 millimeter threads, so cool. That will work. My fingers are already cold, so that's the stopper. All right, we'll figure that out in a minute. First, we need to drill a hole. I don't like it. I think we're just gonna go sideways at this rate. So let me start with a smaller bit and then work my way up a little bit. I don't want to make the hole any deeper than it is. About 25. So about where that mark is there. Which leaves me, yeah, it goes all the way in. There are absolutely no threads left in those holes anymore. Thread tapper. Let's start this straight. If it goes sideways, then that's not good. Sorry if you guys can't see anything, but I am making extra certain that I'm getting this straight the first time. That feels like a stop. Right there. Yeah, might be as deep as this one goes. Alright, then we replace a whole bunch of that aluminum with some steel, apparently. I'm going to use one new bolt and one old bolt. So I need these to be cut down to size. We'll do 25 even. I think that should be plenty. Or more or less even. back for now. We're on the old camera. We seem to be stable. I don't know what causes that. So I switched back to the old camera. Had to restart the program again and the app. I don't know. I don't get it. Stop on the installation tool so the tang is centered in slot. Ah. Oh, it's so cold. Right? Maybe? And a little more pressure maybe. Yeah, it looks below the surface to me. Let me get the other one in first. If y'all can stop slipping off my head, that would be great. I hope I didn't just ruin that. That feels right. Okay. Alright, so then we need to break off the tang at the end. Still in that one. So this one's good. Worst case scenario, we'll just shorten the bolts and use the shorter bolt. But I think we're good on this side. So, what I'll do next is I'll try to reinstall the bracket and see what happens. Doing the troublesome one. I'm going to take this one out again and trim it down further so that it works with the hole. I did something wrong with threading in the generic temporal helix coil. Just enough to keep it from rotating or popping out. That's all it needs to do. Alright, threads right in, that's good. Okay. Alright, so yeah, so that's in there sturdy now. That ain't going nowhere. Alright. So before I install the rest of this, I want to deal with the rattling cat. And yeah, and since I suck at welding, my plan is to drill a hole. It's just a shielding here, I think that's rattling. Use a whatchamajig. Rivet. There's a rivet on it. That broke my bit. Am I making a dent in this thing? Did it. Let's try again. There it goes. Okay. Tight fit, we know that at least. And slides on. Okay. That's on. And that's not moving. This might work. Assuming that's the rattling issue. So we got one more side right here. Cool. If this works, I'll be so happy. I don't have to spend $400 on a new cat. That might work. Where did I throw? I threw 3 rivets on. Oh, here is one. Okay. Clean that off a little bit. Maybe not. Oh, look at that. Fits right through. All right. Alright, that's pretty on there. Yeah. Cool. What was that rattling? Colliding with something over here? No. Well, good enough. That's in. So this is one of the end ones. Got a brand new washer for. And then I tried to fix them from the other guy putting in the wrong stuff. They turned into a completely different thread. And I don't think I went all the way down with it. So I think the very end of it is still the old thread type. And I'm backing it out, it's still giving me trouble. That's really not good. Alright, let's see if I can find my thread chaser kit. Wonder if the end of the bolt was damaged. Yeah, I think I damaged it. Or it has some old stuff stuck in it. Things are harder to do with frozen fingers. I might need a new bolt. Alright, one more thing I can try is I can try shortening it. I think originally it had these bolts in it, which were ruined. Is it good now? Nope. Not working at all. Okay, are we back now? And then we get back to glitchy cam. Okay, why did that work this time and not all those other times? And then it stopped working. What? I decided to give it one more shot after getting that bolt in. Had it fix the threads on the bolts and under the car piece, but it worked. Got it in there. Put a little bit of anti-seize on the end of it and some thread locker on the other part of it. But is it now stable? It's now pretending to be stable. I think the reason my feet are frozen is because these shoes are so flat that all the heat gets pulled right out from them. I am instead gonna go inside where it's warm and troubleshoot the stupid GoPro. Or I could test drive the car and then go inside and test drive the stupid GoPro. I like that idea better. Actually, let's swap this out first. So we're not under the car anymore. Switch over to something that can keep it warmer and is clean-ish. Something supposed to rattle, but it's not the rattle. That loud noise. My toes a bit here. Sweet. Okay. This is just my phone. Battery's almost dead, but I want to give you guys a quick update. I drove the car around a little bit and not fully convinced it was the transmission or drive shaft making all that noise, because it was very odd, very weird. It wasn't very consistent. I ended up going to the store trying to get it prepared for state inspection, try to get past it. Got new windshield wipers and fluids for washer and coolant. Turns out the place I go to, they got acquired by somebody and have to get reasserted. And then another place I was going to go to just now, something, they take me tomorrow. So, but I figured out what was making the rattle. So I pulled it up and put it on the blocks here, backed it up on the blocks. And I felt around with the exhaust. It has been months since the last video, and I realized I didn't really end the last video that well, so I'm going to try to summarize what happened. So now the car works fine with the transmission. It has other issues right now, but so as far as I can tell, the transmission works good, A minus, you know. There's a little problem with it going into reverse still, where you have to push it all the way, make sure it's like all the way down, or else it will grind the gear a little bit. That's always been a problem, but it's not as bad as it used to be. That might have something to do with the wrong rear housing shell on the transmission. I'm not sure, I don't really know. But other than that, as far as I can tell, it's all good. I did eventually adjust the clutch pedal. I did have to order a bumper part stopper for the very bottom that was missing. I imagine someone took it out. I don't like it being out because I like it being the bottom of the clutch being closer to where the gas and brake pedals bottoms are, so my legs are a little more even. I did say a couple times that I thought this was backwards. I was talking about the actual pull itself. You can put it in either way, and there's a slight tilt to it. I think I put it in incorrectly, so that should be fine. Let me get moving and I can talk a little bit more. Yeah, so you see that little last click? What I had to do was I had to lift up on the clutch slightly while putting tension on this and pressure, and then it clicked into the last bit of reverse. So that's always been an issue. And this car isn't moving a bit, so I mean, the brakes might be stuck. There it goes. I have to confess, after I initially put everything back together and try to spin the wheel by hand, it was very stiff. I don't remember if I couldn't turn it at all or if it was just very stiff. It didn't feel good. I was very discouraged, and I didn't feel like recording about it. I was pretty upset, but I decided to turn on the car anyways and make the engine turn the transmission over after getting, fluid in it and the transmission, and that did seem to free it up after the initial jolt. I don't know why it was like that. It might have been because I needed to use some transmission grease on the bearings that I didn't do or something like that. I don't know. But now, being several months later, and I've driven the car several times since then, it doesn't seem to be an issue. Nothing seems to be broken or grinding or anything like that as far as I can tell. So whatever that problem was, for me, didn't turn out to be a long-term issue. I don't know if that's helpful to anyone out there, but for me, that was my experience. So the big issue that I was kind of trying to troubleshoot a lot towards the end of the video was the rattling noise. And that rattling noise turned out to be the exhaust pipe coming into contact with one of the support members from or suspension parts, and it was just barely making contact with it when the car suspension was in just the right angle or whatnot, and it would make a huge loud rattling noise. So what I ended up doing was I took my jack and I put it under the car. I put it under the, I think the muffler, and jacked up the muffler and used that to kind of bend the exhaust pipe just far enough so that it no longer made contact with the suspension, and the rattling noise went away. Hooray! So I was able to take the car to get it stay inspected. It passed fine with flying colors. Oh, the clutch bleed was kind of a pain, but I did eventually get it done off camera. I don't remember the whole process I went through to get that done, but it is a pain to bleed the clutch. The new slave cylinder fixed a problem I didn't know that was the source of. I'm gonna drive here. But occasionally, the problem was that my clutch pedal would get stiff sometimes. It'd be hard to push down and make a loud squeaky noise. Wasn't good. So, and that turned out to be the leaking slave cylinder as far as I could tell. So that's all fixed now. That works great. But as soon as I fix one problem, other problems start popping up out of nowhere. So for instance, the steering wheel has decided that it wants to pull to the left, and it's not tire pressure, it's, I believe, the steering rack. So I'll have to rebuild the steering rack, and that's one of the first things I need to get done. I also, all the shocks, all four of them are shocked completely, like really bad. They've been that way for a while, but I really should get those fixed. So I got steering rack shocks. I need to also, the front two tires are pretty bad right now, so I'll need to get those replaced and rotated at the very least. Maybe all four, I'm not sure yet. Need to get some body work done on it. I'm not quite sure what I want to do or how I want to do that. I'm not a welder, so there's that problem. And of course, after all that, I'll need to get an alignment done. And of course, there are things that I don't really need to do on the car, but I would really like to do. One thing is put some sound deadening in at least the passenger side door or something like that, make it more cozy of a experience to be the passenger. And then I'd also like to put a roll cage in here, just, you know, for general safety. Another thing, I have a hardtop and I'm using it right now, but the problem with it is it doesn't have a rear defrost on it, and I have a hookups for the rear defrost. So I believe this hardtop was originally for an NA. But if I can get one that has rear defrost built into it, that'd be awesome. Sorry, the camera went out there. So some of the big dreams I have for this car are, I want, like the big dreams are, I would love to put an engine swap in here. I'd love to put like a V6 or a V8 in here, or maybe even electrify it. I don't weld, obviously, so it would have to be a pretty weld-free kit. Any welding that would involve would have to be hired off to somebody else. So again, those are big dreams that you know, way out of my current budget, realistically. So those are far off dreams, probably when I'm older. Some safety things like the side marker lights. I'd like to get some LED ones for the rear, because right now the rear side markers don't light up at all. I'd like to get some body work done to the car and have it painted nice. Have some painting ideas in my head, but I don't. Again, body work, so expensive, very low priority. Can't really do that right now. But for now, I'm not really going to focus on this car to get work done on. There is another project that I'm eager to start working on a little bit more that I can show you right now. This is my dad's. Originally my grandmother's, his mother. 1982 Collector's Edition Corvette Collector's Edition. Whatever order that goes in. Anyway, so a few years ago, and she just passed it down to him. It needs a lot of work. there's some stories behind it. I put a lot of work into it already, but it still needs a lot more. And we've been kind of just waiting on monies to continue work on it. And I do have some parts that I could start putting in the car now, so I'll probably start working on that here and there, maybe uploading some videos on that, sharing a little bit more of the story about the car then. But yeah, this is another project that I want to start working on. But again, money's kind of an issue right now, so it waits. It runs, it drives. There's a leak in the front radiator right now, so right now it's out of coolant. There's a whole bunch of issues with it. It leaks out of pretty much every internal possible way it could leak, except for the AC system, which runs just fine cold. Well, then again, the AC system still has another problem where the compressor's bearing wobbles the pulley and destroys the belt. But you know, other than that, every system on this car has leaked at some point. I have fixed the brakes issues, most of them. Anyways, so that project will probably be more future videos. So the reason I can't really do much to this car right now, even though I really want to, is because I've decided to become more financially responsible. And that's partly due to watching a whole bunch of Dave Ramsey stuff. And I've been working on clearing my debt, and I so far cleared off all my student loans. I managed to do that before the payments restart. I had saved up money to do that, but then I blew it after the whole student loan forgiveness thing came up, and I eventually just blew the money, and I had to rebuild it from scratch, and that was no fun. But that's been paid off. That's why I've been focusing all my energy and most of my money on is just paying off the student loans. And all I have left for debt now is my other car, not this car, my other car. Focus most of my energy on just paying off that car as quickly as possible. And it's going to take me a little bit over a year. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with that right now. And as you can hear there, I still need to replace the cat. So clearly I'm very attached to this car, and there are several reasons for that, but I'd say the major reason is, well, there's a story behind it that's kind of long, so I'm going to try to cut to the chase pretty much. So several years ago, I was fired from a job. My car was no longer safe to drive, and I had to reevaluate my life a little bit. And I took some time to think about it, and decided to go back to college and get a degree in cybersecurity, and I started working towards that. But I still needed a car. I was kind of relying on my parents to help me out with their car and stuff. And what ended up happening was I had no money at the time. I had maybe a couple $100, if that. I don't remember, but probably less than $200. And I needed a car. So what happened was my mom brought it up with my grandfather, her dad, and something unexpected happened, at least very unexpected to me. He gave me the largest sum of money I'd ever received from a single person at one time. Ever. That I remember. At least up to that point. And I was completely shocked. I was like, that's a lot of money. Why? And he was like, this is for your car, and so you can keep, working and studying. So I always viewed the car I bought with that money, which is this car, the blue car, the one I just fixed the transmission in. I always viewed this car as a gift. It's always been a gift. That not just because of that, but because of other parts of my life that it's affected. That the only reason I would get rid of it is if it was completely totaled beyond repair, I die, or some combination of the two, which preferably would not happen, but you know, one of those things would happen. And I did push forward. I earned my cybersecurity degree. I got a better job, and then I got a really nice job, and now I, you know, it's come back to a lot of things just tie back to this car, and I'm quite thankful for an awesome grandpa and some awesome family. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Looking forward to the car project. Looking forward to having the money to work on this car again, hopefully sometime in the next year or two. Anyway, so thank y'all so much for watching. Y'all enjoy your night. If you want to join the stream, say hi to me at twitch.tv/theonecut, or maybe I'll try streaming on YouTube every now and then. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, y'all have a good afternoon, night, evening, morning, breakfast, lunch, maybe dinner. I don't know. Dinner's up to you guys if you want to have dinner or not. But I'm just kidding with y'all. Have a good one.